Canon Andrew White. Welcome to this series called Inspirers and Influencers. This is a wonderful occasion to take you to a journey through a great tapestry of stories, memories, and testimonies of the great ways in which God's people have been brought together in this purpose of restoring and bringing reconciliation to the Middle East. Above all, I pray that this meeting of inspirers and influencers who we bring together in this series will enable our faith to be lifted and our perspectives enlarged, so that you can fulfill great call of God on your life wherever you are. I'd like to introduce you today to my dear friend Elaine Glover. We have an amazing story.
We do, yes. We do, because I'd only actually saw you once in 2009 in Leicester in the university, and I asked you about if God had done any miracles, and you were telling me all sorts. I had a ministry in Leicester helping drug addicts, alcoholics, with my late husband Nigel, and when he died I moved to Hayling Island, then Southampton. And through my distress of being bereaved and a widow, and everything in my life seemed to have ended, I was praying in Langley House Trust, where I work, for ex-offenders, and I said, Lord, is this all you have for my life?
You were really quite despairing, weren't you?
I was very despairing.
What on earth was happening to you?
Well, everything that's in my life. I'd lost my husband. I had really nothing left because I was a carer as well, so I lost my role. But then you came into my life, because after I prayed this prayer, 2 weeks later, I had a message on Facebook.
I phoned you up.
No, I phoned you, actually. You did phone me, but you told me to ring you. And you said, hello.
I said, call me.
Yeah, I did. And you said, this is Canon Andrew White. You said, do you know Saddam Hussein? And I'm thinking, yes. I'm thinking, what does he want to ring me for? And then you told me, what did you tell me that God had said to you?
God told me I was in the situation where we were bringing over the judge who tried Saddam Hussein, Judge Raouf, the one who sentenced him to death. And he had a major spinal neck problem, and he needed serious surgery. And having spent weeks sitting in front of Saddam Hussein, in front of the judge, I knew him just by sight. And after he sentenced him, he said, I need a specialist, a doctor in England to do my major spinal surgery. Who do we know who can find a doctor? And they said, that person, Andrew White, who sat throughout all the court case, he will know, he's medical. So they came to me and said, we've got a simple problem. We need this major spinal cervical operation on Judge Raouf. Can you arrange it for us? So, as you do, I arranged it. Very few hospitals could do this in the world, probably 3 hospitals. And one of them happened to be in Southampton.
That was the Spires, wasn't it?
Yeah, the Spires in Southampton. So we got the doctor, Mr. Ali, who is actually Iranian.
Goodness.
And he was Iraqi and Sunni, and he was very worried about having a surgery where people could get at him, because he was seen as being an opponent. of the Sunni. And this doctor was a Shia. And we went to him, we talked to him, we planned it all out. I said, we will bring Judge Raouf here.
But you needed somebody, didn't you, to be able to look after him?
I knew he was coming. I could deal with all the clinical things of the doctor. And I said, Lord, who's going to help? I need people on the ground to be with Judge Raouf. We can't just bring him and his family here without any helpers. And I said, God, who should I ask to help? God said, you know that lady, Elaine? You don't know her, you've seen her once. Ask her. And so I phoned you up, you phoned me, and the world thought I was crazy.
Well, I thought you were winding me up actually, and then I thought to myself, well, why me? I was just a part-time cleaner and a worker of Langley House as a project worker.
Just a volunteer.
Just a volunteer, yeah. But then God said, well, you did pray. Is this all you have for your life? So, you know, I'm answering your prayer. And so I got really excited, and we met you, didn't we, at the Hilton Hotel? And, you know, I kept pinching myself thinking, goodness, that's Canon Andrew White. That's the judge who sentenced Saddam Hussein. That's the family. And I just couldn't believe it. But it was just the beginning of a journey and a process.
And that beginning,
yes,
has changed your life.
Well, yes, because the thing was,
you're wearing your Kurdish dress.
I'm wearing my Kurdish dress, and
Brian the squirrel
was wearing his Kurdish outfit, and that's the ring that Shrews gave me.
Who is Judge Raoul's daughter.
Yes. Well, I remember a few things. It was amazing because I prayed for the judge and for his wife for healing, and they allowed me to, because I mean, remember that they are Sunni Muslims. And one time we went, and it was quite humorous because when I parked, I wasn't very good at driving, but I parked over a boulder. So your driver at the time, Ken, had to lift up the car to remove the boulder so I could drive.
Literally.
Literally. And then we were on convoy to a Portsmouth Kurdish restaurant. I'll never forget it. We had Canon Andrew White and the judge who sentenced Saddam Hussein in this blacked out car, probably bulletproof. These two most wanted men by ISIS. We got Brian the Squirrels at the back with this Jesus fan, Jesus loves you, and I was behind him in my clapped out Volvo, and Jihad was behind him, and it was quite funny when you think about it. You couldn't make it up. But God was in the whole thing because I was able to pray for the judge. I engaged with the family. We shared presents. She gave me this beautiful scarf, and God told me to take it to a West End, it was Southampton West End, to this conference, which was a prophetic conference. And I took the scarf, and God told me to put the scarf on the Israeli flag on top of a cross. And I thought,
yeah, it's good doing a bit of Iraqi Kurdish.
yeah, it's
Israeli reconciliation.
And I took this.
It's what we're all about.
Exactly. So I took this beautiful shawl, and me and Jihad told Mrs. Ralph what we'd done, put it over her legs, and we prayed, and she had a successful operation.
Because the judge's wife also needed major leg surgery.
She did, yes.
So in addition to his spinal surgery, she needed surgery as well. So we had a double whammy.
We did. And, you know, it was amazing because God had me stay with his wife's sister in London. And I met Tarza and Miran, and we went with Sarah, and I took the two ladies to Hillsong London. I couldn't believe it. And they really enjoyed themselves.
And they loved the worship.
Well, they did, and Sarah was saying how it was in the Quran, these different about the Old Testament, and then after they had 2 successful operations, and Mr. Ralph went home, he made me promise to look after his wife, and they invited me to stay with him in Erbil.
In Kurdistan.
And I thought, why not? So I did. And it was a wonderful time, and I was a bit shocked.
I know, I came.
You did, yes.
I was with you.
And I was quite shocked one day to find this really prominent man, and he was wearing his pyjamas and his dressing gown, and to see this man on a television who told Saddam to shut up, it was quite amazing. But
yeah, he was very good at telling him in court, shut up.
He did, yes. And that brought great restorative justice for the Kurdish people, didn't it? Because of, yeah.
Well, we spoke a little about Kurdistan and the terror in places like Halabja.
Yes.
Just the other day. And it was horrendous what the people of Kurdistan had been through.
Exactly.
And Judge Raoul's own family had all been killed and lived there.
Yes.
So we were in Kurdistan, you were with the judge and his family, and I said I wanted you to come to Baghdad.
You did.
And the judge said, no, no, no.
Well, that's right, because I was getting a bit bored, because on the television it was all Al Jazeera and the Quran, and they were out all day in the Ministry of Justice. So I rang you and said I was getting a bit bored, and you said to come to Baghdad. Well, I just said to the judge, oh, Andrew said, would you like to come to Baghdad? And I said, yes. And he went, I am the judge and you are not going. And I said, but God told me I want to go to Baghdad. But anyway, you did speak to him, didn't you?
I did.
You did, and I was able to go. And I know that Baffrin had, which was his other daughter, had a...
I was quite good at persuading judges what they really needed to do.
Yeah. And he listened. But Baffrin, his daughter, had a vision of me in a car with this bread around it, and I was going to be saved, so that was good. But you said that when I arrived at the airport that I had to meet Ali.
Ali would meet you. Everybody in Baghdad is called
That's
Ali.
That's exactly what the judge said. But anyway, when I arrived in Baghdad...
You asked for Ali.
I asked for Ali, and they looked at me thinking, well, which Ali? You hadn't arrived, and I was a bit worried. But anyway, you arrived, and we were having a bit of a
Ali
laugh.
arrived.
But another thing I remember, at that point, I didn't have a visa. But you had to arrange it with General Yassin or somebody. And I did. It's a good job I didn't know. But I mean, the thing was, when you think about it...
So you had no visa to get in. But I knew the right guy.
You knew the right guy.
You see, in this kind of work, it's not what you know, it's who you know.
But for
we knew the right guy.
But for me, who's just the Joe Bloggs, it was a massive thing to go, because, in Baghdad you could get kidnapped. But I knew that God was my protector.
It was in the midst of the terrible terror.
Yes.
It wasn't Baghdad nowadays. It was Baghdad in the midst of the horrendous conflict.
But God kept telling me about the disciples in the boat when they were upset because it was very stormy. And God said, Jesus said, where is your faith? So I knew that I would be safe with the Lord. And the next day I remember